Welcome to Leap into Livestream. My name is Dawn Chubet, a former TV home shopping host and award winning broadcaster, and the principal of Live Selling School. This podcast is for you if you are a retailer looking to reach your customers and get more customers and engage more customers in new ways, the ways that are going to help propel you into the future of shopping, particularly in the digital age. Please subscribe to this podcast. We've got great guests every single time. And today we are talking with somebody who's got the marketing side of live stream shopping down. So we got Corey Morris back from SPRII, the Chief Marketing Officer. We decided to give Christian a break on this part two. Corey, I wanted to dive more into the marketing mentality when it comes to live stream shopping for any businesses that are looking to get more information. I want to talk more about the
Right.
conversion and the
Mhm.
opportunities that are there relative to traditional e-commerce.
Yeah, absolutely. I love digging into this topic because I think live shopping is one of the most underrated marketing tools. When I talk to ecom managers after they've started doing live shopping, their faces are glowing because they're like, "This is so amazing. You finally given us a way to tap into that social media following that we've been trying to build." I don't know how long has social media been around, since like 2006. Like, you guys have finally given us a way to leverage that community and to monetize that, because what a lot of marketers and ecom managers do, they spend so much of their time thinking about how do I get traffic to my website. And now it's more like, okay, great. How can I bring my website and then bring my sales team, so the people, to my community on social media, right? How do I connect all of these things together? And one of the things I always love talking about are the numbers behind that. So like the conversion rates. So traditional e-commerce conversion rates. So people go to your website, they buy stuff, roughly 2.5%, which, and that's pretty much been steady for years now. What we're seeing with live shopping, so the people who actually watch a live shopping event versus the people who actually buy something, is up to 60%. And that's an amazing number. And we can dig more into that if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, when we look at if you think of a physical store even, so we're talking about the comparison from traditional e-com to the live stream, but if you
Right.
had X number of people walking in your store, to have that many people walk out having made a purchase, you'd be jumping for joy.
Well, the thing is on some of our most successful, higher performing live shopping events, I mean, we can have, thousands of people watching these. I remember one that comes to mind in recent memory is there were 4,000 people in line before the live shopping event even started, and within the first 5 minutes, it had reached nearly 10,000 people. And the only time we can think of something of that happening in a physical store is if Apple is going to launch a new product. Now, probably not so, because Apple hasn't done that in a while, and the whole idea of standing in line for an Apple product is not nearly as popular as it used to be. But yeah, it's and again, I mean, also thinking about getting 10,000 people on your website and excited about product, but also high intent. And that's another thing. These people are excited about products because whatever you've done before the live shopping event to actually get them excited to come there. But also just making sure that that overall user experience. Whereas if you go to a website, you typically, it depends on how you get to the website. If I'm looking for something, then I through paid search, and I'll probably be taken directly to a product page. But if I just go to a website, then I am stuck with what most people have today, which is choice fatigue. It's like I don't know where to start, whether it's a big marketplace like Zalando or Amazon, or if it's just your website. I'm more in the mindset of like, why don't you show me what I need? I've been giving you my information for all these years. So that's also changing a little bit, and just in terms of the overall customer experience.
Yeah, so just even to that point, talking about sort of the customer really when they enter a live stream shopping event, they're kind of they're even more than a warm lead. They're kind of gearing toward hot because they're ready to spend. It's not like walking into a mall and you happen across a store and you walk in and maybe you walk out with a product. When you market your live stream event, when you have a theme that entices people to watch, which basically your theme becomes a bit of a hook in its
Yep,
own right.
very much so.
If we talk about, of course, the way you navigate a sale, just getting people into your store. If it was a physical store, you'd say 60% off, Black Friday,
Mhm,
Cyber
mhm,
Monday, whatever it is. I want to, so you talked a bit about that upwards of potentially 60% conversion. I think what a lot of people also have questions about are returns. I know returns on
mhm.
traditional e-commerce can be really tough on a lot
Yep,
of businesses, but live stream also brings additional benefits.
absolutely. So what we typically see, and this is coming from Shopify, is return rates for e-commerce ranges between 20 and 30%. Now, for some of the bigger players, let's take Zalando. I'm not really sure what the numbers are with Amazon, but take Zalando, that can be up to 50%, which obviously has an economic impact, but also has a huge environmental impact. And what a lot of people don't know is when you return clothes to these places, they can't sell them again. They either burn them or they give them away. But what we're seeing with live shopping are return rates well below 10%. Now, why is that? And that's because if I am in a live two-way setting where I can ask questions, I can tell you about this product, I can bring in models, and I can show you exactly how, let's just say it's fashion, for example, I can show you exactly how this product fits on a certain person, a shape and size. They can talk about how they wear it, why they wear it. All of this leads to one thing, and it's more informed and better purchasing decisions. And that's one of the reasons why we have low return rates.
And that's exactly why, again, I've talked about my programs with Live Selling School is because to have that advocate, to have that host, and the host that, by the way, is prepared to give up the sale so that you can make the right purchase because we don't want those returns. I could, as a host, even in TV home shopping, could have totally sold way more if I would say, this is perfect for everyone. This fits everyone. It's going to make everyone look like X. But it's your job as a host to help someone make the right purchase. So
Sure.
this isn't great if you are have more bust, for instance, right? Because it's not stretchy, right? Like, I mean, I'm
Right,
just
right,
saying that because I'm
right.
off the hand. So, or this is not right for you. This jewelry isn't right for you if you work in construction because this
Yeah.
gemstone is a softer on the Mohs
I also
hardness
think it's
scale.
the storytelling around it as well. It's like if I'm trying to sell this pen on a website, I go and I read a little bit of copy. Maybe I have an image of it moving around. But if I'm on a live shopping event, I know a pen may not be the best example here, but it's like so the reason I use this pen or how I use this pen is on this particular way, and I can actually demonstrate me using this pen. I can talk about the longevity of it. I can talk about it, but you can also refill it. So you're adding a lot of detail around this, which you can't really do on a static website. And to let's be honest, you really can't do that in a physical store because you can't bring in different models to demonstrate different clothing. You're not going to be able to give that individual consumer that attention. So, this in many ways, I've heard people talk about live stream selling and live shopping as sales at scale. And I really think that's what it's about because you and I both know, Don, the job of a salesperson is to make you feel really good about that purchasing decision. And if I feel really good and confident in buying that, it's also because you know, a lot of e-commerce transitions, it feels more like a business uh, transaction, right? Whereas I feel with live shopping, it's more like a personal connection because I've seen that person. I'm not in front of you physically, but I've seen you. I've talked to you through my chat, and you've responded to me. So I feel more, I don't know, committed to that purchasing decision, but also because you've taken the time to help me feel comfortable about it.
Well, we're also talking about trust because
Yeah,
on a
a lot of trust.
.com, I'd especially with direct to consumer, don't know who that person is. Is it a real person? Is there someone listening? Is there someone that cares? Am I going to get my product? Right? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of trust issues that people, and I think it was Accenture that had come out with, again, the barriers to just traditional e-com is that trust. And so live stream shopping has an absolute benefit when it comes to putting a face behind the brand, even if it's not a person that works for the brand, it is a real person that is listening. And I think, that is one of the main reasons as well when you look at the less returns is because someone is helping navigate through that pathway. And so on traditional e-com, even the way something is described. So when you look at a sweater, for instance, that sweater is soft. Well, soft is subjective. Corey, you might think
Mm.
an SOS pad is soft, right? I mean, but is it belly soft, all of it, or the inner
Right,
ear of a
right,
Labrador puppy retriever? I mean, these are home shopping
right.
sort of analogies, but now all of a sudden, there's something that through the screen, I feel
Yeah,
like I've touched it, and e-com cannot do that. The copywriters,
no.
they don't write that way, and it's a very personal thing, and that's why even with AI, and I wanna talk about, some
Mm,
again of the technologies that Spree offers, and how you're navigating that whole world, but artificial intelligence, I don't think unless someone gets really, "Hey, you guys are a software company, maybe you're gonna figure it out," but authentic intelligence, I
mm.
don't think can possibly
No,
exist.
no. We've been using the term authentic commerce because you come from the home shopping TV world. I grew up in the States, based in Europe, the last 20 years, where that maybe hasn't had the big footprint as it has in the States. But to me, it's like this is the next stage of like home shopping TV, where the TV is now replaced with social media or also your website. And the professional live shopping or home shopping TV host has been replaced by the companies themselves. So in many ways, it's like the democratization of it. I think by having someone who actually belongs to the company, whether it's the founder or somebody head of customer service, or it doesn't really matter, but someone from the company actually talking about that product, even more so about the time and energy and the thought that they put into making that product, telling that story. I think that comes across as authentic. And to your point about AI, some of our competitors are spending a lot of time and resources into trying to replace the real person host with an AI. Um, the jury's still out about that. We're more into the authentic side of things. We don't think that AI will replace humans when it comes to stuff like that, because I think at the end of the day, a shopping experience, we still enjoy that personal connection you can make with somebody. Now, having said that, I think that AI will help us in so many other ways.
Yeah, I have to agree with that as well, and I mean, back when I worked in the world of traditional broadcast, I mean, I could see newscasters completely getting wiped out by AI presenters, but I don't think reporters
Mm,
can, because you still
no,
need to gather information, but the actual reading of a prompter and translating into multiple languages, I think is probably going to be the future, and people watching on whatever device and not
right,
necessarily scheduling for 6 o'clock newscast. I mean, I think we all know
right.
where that's going eventually. When we hear about sort of the idea of brands getting involved with the live stream shopping, in particular the stores, I think this is what for me is the most exciting and why I started live selling school is the idea that you can bring, even if you don't have a physical storefront, you
Mm,
can bring store to a person. You can bring your philosophy to a person. And that's really that perfect merging, Corey, I think of that physical, if the physical ever existed, it didn't have to. You don't have to have a
mm,
brick and mortar, but with
right.
that digital.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. So there's a term we've been tossing around for a while, like it or hate it. It's called the whole phygital. It's kind of like the hybrid. But this is maybe like the third leg of that. So you've got your physical store, you've got your website. Now, let's be honest, it's become increasingly difficult to get people to both of those areas. But you've also got your social media as well that you've probably been trying to build for so long now. The great thing is that you can bring all of these together. Now, I want to share one other stat with you, which we didn't get into earlier, and that's actually how much time do you have with your customer across these different platforms? Because time with a brand is also a huge KPI. On your website, the average time is less than 1 minute. So that's you got to have a really well-oiled navigation, conversion rate optimization. Everything just has to be super well-oiled to get people to both be aware of a product, consider a product, and buy a product in less than a minute. What we're seeing on live shopping can be up to 20 minutes. And again, it's just because of the nature of what's actually happening. You're talking to a real person, you're engaged. Another thing to remember though with live shopping, it's a shared social experience because it's not just you and the host, it's all the thousands of other people who are there at the same time. You're paying attention to what they're writing, You're engaged with the questions that they're asking, the feedback that the host is giving to another person. You're actually sitting and learning from that as well. So it becomes a shared experience. You can't mimic that. We've talked about this already, but you cannot mimic that on a website, and you certainly can't mimic it in a store unless it's a store holding like a big event, and most of those don't do that.
Yeah, and it's why exactly I think that when we talk about live shopping and we'll hear different terminologies, we'll hear live commerce, video commerce. Listen, we preach the gospel of live because of that real-time interaction, but the video commerce still offers that connection. In particular, even with the repurposing on websites, product pages,
Mm.
or in the case of shoppable video for sure.
It's so
But I
funny
think
to see which terms are being tossed around right now
yeah,
because we're always trying to figure out, okay, what is the term right now? In the UK, for example, this live stream selling. What are you guys using in Northern America
yeah, so I think, live stream shopping and live commerce is what we're hearing, but,
and live
even
commerce?
yeah, and even, honestly, when I started my school, it's why I kind of focused on the live selling part of it as opposed to liveshopping.com. Live selling school is what my company is, and it's because the the strategies and the techniques of live selling can actually happen in person
Mm.
as
Yeah.
well as virtually, which ultimately is what live stream shopping is. It's virtual commerce
Mm.
is what it is. That'll be the next term. Someone will latch on to that. I'm sure they have already. Um, because we're talking about a deeper way of selling. We're talking about a more
Mm.
connective way of selling. And to be able to offer whatever the consumer needs, whether it is in person or that in-person vibe, but in the comfort of their home,
Mhm.
again, just removes those barriers, and that's what it's all about. Listen, what's next for Spree? What are you guys working on for anyone that maybe missed the first episode? What is it you wanna share so that people can go to your website and learn more about
I
how to
want to
evolve?
share one. I want to share one thing. Sorry to interrupt you there. I want to share one thing that we didn't actually get into that I often talk to people, and I get this really big aha moment. They're like, "Okay, that's why social media matters," because everybody's obviously invested in their websites because they've spent the last 25 years uh, building this website. There's like, okay, we got sunken cost here, Corey. We need to keep getting people there. But I think what people don't understand is that with social media, you have this thing called pleasing the algo, and this is why it's so unbelievably successful. So the way Facebook works or Meta works is that if you get a lot of people on your event and you get a lot of comments, Facebook goes, "Ha, there's something interesting happening over here. I am going to look at the people who are there and find their friends and then find lookalike audiences." And that's how you get that organic growth. Now, anyone who knows the number of what it actually costs to acquire a customer, if you can get that for free by doing something that you're already doing, I mean, that in itself is worth its weight in gold. And we have some companies who've told us that they see up to 75% customer growth from their live shopping events. And I think that's absolutely amazing. When I tell people that, they're like, okay, that's cool.
So in other words, all the e-com managers out there that spent all their money on their website, we're not saying that you wasted your time, but we're saying you don't need to have the perfect polish. You don't need to have like you want to leverage the tools that are available to you and don't be focused on that one bucket of your own
No,
website.
not at all. Not at all. I mean, the cool thing is about you know, because Spree, for example, we connect Facebook to your website. So actually, you're driving all the people back to your website. So once they're there, you're getting a cooking on them, so you can retarget them. You can get them to sign up for your live reminders. You can get them to sign up for your newsletters. So it's all really well connected. It dovetails well with your existing e-commerce ecosystem. It's just I feel as though it's an area that people just haven't really leveraged yet, and now's the time to do that.
Because it's all just ready to be there for you to take with the
It's there
right
waiting.
technology.
You're leaving
And
money
to
on the table if you're not doing it right now.
exactly, and there's no reason not to investigate. It'll never be as, I'm gonna even say affordable to get into this world right now because you're sort of anyone that's getting into it is getting into it on the ground level. You're part
Yeah.
of the progression of it, and it is the way people are shopping, so it's not like we're just saying, "Hey, do this because 'cause we're saying so." There's a lot of, news out there in this. You set a Google alert every day, Corey, I'm getting Rolling Stone has started live stream shopping. I mean,
We see all different types of product categories being or using live shopping, everything from promoting festivals to promoting travel destinations for charitable purposes now. We see it just for communities because we have functionality, gamification functionality built into our platform. So those one company that's a sports and activewear company, they use it for live shopping, but they love it so much they actually started using it for community meetups. So again, yeah, it's under the overarching idea of live shopping, but I also think it's just a new way of building community and creating two-way mutually rewarding engagement for with your customer base. You know, I when I was in business school around quite a few years ago, I'm dating myself here, but whole brand communities was something we really talked about, and that's kind of been on the back burner for some time now. But I do think that that's coming back because it's so hard with the fickle nature of customers today, and Timu and all these other ones just outbidding everybody on paid search. It's so hard to find loyalty, and I think we need to have more engaging ways in which we interact with our customers to be able to do that. And I certainly believe that live shopping is an opportunity to do that.
I think what we'll probably see, and we sort of touched on this, is, what are we calling it these days? I actually, when you look at the different product categories and the different uses, so if we think of like festivals, for instance, I think we'll eventually see the term live stream shopping probably go, because I believe there are people that they have this perception that it's got to look like TV home shopping. And 100% it is based on it, but that's not how it needs to look. We're sort of
No.
pigeonholing a perception. And so that's why perhaps live commerce or live interaction or
Hmm.
something. I mean, we're not going to solve the world's problems today, Corey, you and I, but do you not think that we
We
might
can
see a
try.
shift in what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think it's the live component, but you and I and Christian talked about this in our first episode. It's just the content in general because yeah, you recording it may be live because it's interactive in two-way, but that content can also be reused, recycled, and repurposed afterwards. It's just taking a very static e-commerce experience and make it a little bit more dynamic.
Yeah. So as we sort of wrap this, if you were to
Mhm.
describe who the ideal customer for live stream shopping is, what would you say? And the reason I'm asking this is I believe there's also a demographic or a certain segment of the business owners out there that feel like if they engage in digital strategies to this level, that it means they're giving up on the idea that people will physically walk into their store. And I don't believe that. But I think there
Not
are
at all.
people that think, oh my gosh, if I do that, am I giving up on my dream? So who would you say the ideal person or business to start live
So
stream shopping
So
is?
so no, so first of all, let me try to allay that fear for people because who do have the physical stores, because what we see is a so-called spillover effect. So if you're engaging your audience, let's just say on social media, driving them to your website, we hear our customers say that we actually get more footfall because we're just engaging these people in the way in which they're mostly spending a lot of their time, right? So you're top of mind with them. And when they go by the store, they're going to want to come in the store. And I think that's great. So you have that spillover effect. Again, it's just all about keeping your brand, your product top of mind with your customer. To your question about like who's winning right now with live shopping for us. So we obviously anybody who has a web shop, anybody who has a physical store, and anyone who has a fairly good social media following that is a very engaged social media following. I would say those are the prerequisites, and it really just spans across a wide range of product categories as well. Obviously, if you're in fashion, then that's a no brainer. What we typically tell people is like, if you are a challenger and if you want to be an innovator and a pioneer in your industry and become a front runner in a field which they're, to use this analogy, it's very much a blue ocean right now, then live shopping is ideal for you. We do have success with major companies, big enterprise companies, but we also see the mom and pop shops as well. The sweet spot is probably the small, middle sized enterprises. Um, and I think the most important thing is that you have the right team that's ready to really lean into this and really that's willing to embrace it. Um, Having said that, we always tell people to embrace the TTS model. So that means you have to test, That means you have to track the success. And once you found a recipe that works, and let me be honest, you may not find that right away, but once you do, then it's ready to scale. And it's so easy to scale.
And it is with the right technology. Spree is, I've had many conversations with this company, in particular with Corey. And if you missed our first episode with Christian, who is the co-founder and CEO of Spree, it's well worth backtracking to that as well because we shared so much more information. If anyone does want to be in touch, because let me tell you guys, it's not expensive to get going. It's just important to get started, get the strategy, and you've got some great subscription services available. How can people learn more from you?
Sure. So yeah. So thanks for saying that. If they want to learn more, they can go to our website. That's spree.io, sprii.io. Also encourage you to follow us on LinkedIn. We also have a ton of great video content on YouTube. We're on Instagram. We're basically everywhere. I mean, this is the nature of what we do. But you're also welcome to reach out to me. You can find me on LinkedIn. And in fact, if you want to reach out to anybody from the Spree family on LinkedIn, feel free to do that. We love talking about live shopping. We love talking about e-commerce, and we'd love to talk to you about how we could get you involved with some of the things that we're doing.
Amazing. And thank you so much for joining me on Leap into Livestream. Of course, if you like this content, be sure to subscribe so we can create more of it. I'm sure it won't be the last time we talk, Corey. Thanks so much.
Not at all. Thanks, Don.